I'm Stephanie.
And I'm Jerry.
And welcome to our first episode of CANi Core.
Stability before strength. We are here today at Perch headquarters, and we are going to be talking to Dion, who is their corporate fitness trainer. He's going to be explaining to us just how important the core is in our everyday lives.
He's also going to take us through the foundations of some of the techniques that you will see throughout this series. Our goal is to build a strong core, not hurt backs. So please take the opportunity to go through the techniques with us as well as practice them before we start the actual exercise.
So are you ready? Let's go.
Hi, girls.
Hi,
How's it
sir.
going?
Good. How are you?
Good.
Hi, Dion.
Hi, Jerry. Andy.
Here we are at the corporate headquarters of Perch, and we're speaking with Dion.
And before we get started, Dion, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
I've been in the fitness industry for over 25 years, and I started out as a professional triathlete, and I did that for approximately 22 years. And then about 5 years ago, I started paddleboarding and got into that competitively. And it's really conducive to training and coaching, so it's been really, really good, being able to do both training and coaching.
Wow, so you know a lot about the core.
Absolutely.
Tell us a little bit about what the core is comprised of, because many of us are under the assumption that the core is that little square in the center of your body that you're working very hard to create this six-pack kind of look.
Correct. Core, you got to think about the foundation of a house, and it's kind of based on the same principles. If you've got a bad foundation for a house, the house will probably fall down, right? So you really want to think about your core the same way, and that's not just your six-pack; it's really your intrinsic core. So all your muscles that are deeper lying muscles inside your stomach, and your lower back as well, including your glutes, which is your butt muscles.
So we're talking not just this little square, we're talking about the side, we're talking about the back, as well as the glute, which is what is actually the core is comprised of.
Correct.
Okay, so we're going to have Dion, I believe, go through some of the everyday tasks that we do that require good core strength, but we don't necessarily think about.
So we're going to talk about standing. Such a simple little thing that we do every day. There is a way to stand correctly. And Dion is going to demonstrate that for us right now.
When we're standing on a daily basis, most people, if you take a look at how people stand, they sway to the side, usually. So if you look at moms carrying their babies, they'll have a baby on the hip, and it's always on the one side.
True.
Right? So they're always leaning to one side. That posturally is incorrect. For one, you're putting a lot of stress on the lower back. And a lot of times, because our core isn't strong, we obviously, we just go to whatever's easy and relaxed. So people just stand from side to side instead of ergonomically being correct and standing with their feet underneath their knees under the hips, with a soft knee, and standing tall, shoulders down and back.
And so most mothers will complain of low back soreness, and it's all because they don't stand correctly. They aren't thinking about standing correctly.
Correct. And it becomes a bad habit. If you're swaying to one side, that hip pops out. If you notice how people stand, they'll constantly do that. It becomes one big bad because it's relaxing to them.
Mm-hmm.
In the meantime, they're putting a lot of stress on their lower back, their hips, their SI joint.
Okay. Well, if you can demonstrate on Stephanie
The appropriate
way to do that.
to stand. For me, I tend to have by the end of the day. My shoulders are slouched, my pelvis is out. I don't have young kids anymore, but now as I'm getting older, I'm finding that is my go-to posture when I start getting fatigued. So what are the things that you just said that we can kind of demonstrate?
Yeah, so if you look at a lot of people that are very lordotic and they have a natural arch in the spine.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times it's because the hips are pointing forward.
Right.
So if you let your abs go, if you're partially in this position and your shoulders are drooped forward, okay, you're not engaging your core.
Okay.
So just standing up straight and tall, pulling your shoulders down and back, and engaging your stomach muscles will automatically make you stand more erect. And then keeping the knees soft so that doesn't put a lot of pressure on the lower spine.
Okay. So
and that's the position that you just really want to think about. Again, so feet, knees, right underneath your hip joints, soft
Okay.
knees, standing tall, just really think tall, shoulders down and back, and then think about your stomach. So really thinking about engaging your stomach muscles.
more so than anything else, just kind of focus on the core, and that's going to automatically bring everything into position.
All right, Dion, the next thing we're going to talk about is sitting, the correct way to sit.
Correct.
So I will take a seat here, and I imagine most people sit kind of like this.
Correct. If you notice people when they're sitting at the office desk or whether they're sitting in their cars driving, for the most part, people are mostly slouched over. They're working on the computer with their hands in front of them, okay? Everything's pulled forward. So the shoulders are pulled forward. The abs aren't engaged at all. And so what we want to learn is basically how to engage your abs. Best way to engage your abs is sit up tall. And then pull the shoulders down and back, nice and relaxed. And then you don't have to be lordotic. You don't want that arch in your spine either, because then you're over stressing those muscles in the back. But just more in a neutral spine position. The main thing is just sitting tall from your core, from your stomach muscles, and you'll feel it. When you sit up really tall, you'll actually feel those muscles engage, and you'll feel that sensation of the muscles actually working. And it's actually hard to do, hour upon hour, especially when you're sitting at your desk for many hours a day. So the most important thing, head in a neutral plane position, shoulders down and back, and then really making sure that you're engaging the stomach muscles. And this is when you're driving in your car. That's really important as well, because a lot of people spend a lot of time driving to work and back on a daily basis. And the more you engage your core when you're sitting, the more it's going to help in the long run when you do your core exercises.
All right, so now we're going to talk about picking something up, something we do every single day.
That's correct. We pick up our kids every day. We pick up boxes. We take our babies out of the back seat of the cars. There's always sometime during the day where you can be reaching for something out of a cupboard. And a lot of times we do it incorrectly. And we strain our backs, strain shoulders, and we don't engage our core muscles. We don't engage the muscles that we're supposed to when we're doing those different, what do you call them?
Activities.
Thank you.
Now, we have a 15-pound ball. Why 15 pounds?
15 is kind of, if you think about a child, you're picking up a baby or a toddler, you think about a box. Everything's between like 10 and 15 pounds. When people get something delivered at the house, and for the most part, they end up hurting themselves.
Okay. So you're gonna show me how to pick up this.
How about you show me how you're gonna pick it up?
Oh. Okay, now I'm thinking about it. Okay, so I'm not gonna think about it. I know that they say bend at the knees.
Right.
So I would probably think about bending at the knees and then picking it up.
Okay, so that was incorrect.
Okay,
so
I'm gonna now bend my knees, put it back down again. Okay,
so go back into that position, and I'm just going to show you. I'm going to correct you quickly.
So is the bend at the knees right?
Bend in the knees fine.
Okay, so
just think about where your core is, though. Right before you even start the movement, actually think about your stomach muscles.
Okay.
Okay. So think about where your shoulders are.
All right, that's right. Shoulders down.
Right. Okay. Now think about the same movement that you just did with the squat to pick up the baby.
Am I correct?
There you go. That's excellent.
Now I have to look down. How do I look? Do you know what I mean?
Just
a lot of us reach down.
Yeah, drop your eyes down. without dropping your shoulders forward.
Okay.
And then pick up the child.
And then pick up the child.
Correct. So you went from being very overly
folding.
Yeah, you basically bending from your hips forward and then putting a lot of strain in your back. Even though your knees were bent, you still went upright. So the second time you did it was perfect because then you were really thinking about your core.
Okay.
Automatically. So once you engage your core muscles before you even do a movement, and that's why we've got to think about these things on a daily basis. Most of us don't. We just do the movement, right?
Right.
And so we don't really think about, engage my core before I pick up this child. Just brush on the child thing in the back seat. So for the most part, most people will actually reach into the car, reaching in to grab the baby.
Yeah, because they're in the back of the van or the car, and you're either leaning down or you're going forward trying to rapidly undo their buckle.
Correct.
Okay.
So the best way to do that is actually either get in the car, into the seat next to the child, and then take the baby out.
Okay.
And then cradle the baby, and then both feet out of the car, and then drop down out of the car. But a lot of times, if you can just pull the seat towards you, and then take the baby out, is the better way to do it.
Okay.
So you're actually standing, your core's engaged, because once you're reaching in to grab the child out of the middle part of the car, in the back seat, that's where you end up hurting. Again, it's that reaching. And then the back, you're losing the core stabilization part of it, and then it goes into the lower back.
Okay.
So that's another thing too.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much.
We're on the ground more than we realize. If we're working out, punching in for the martial arts, we're going to show you right now the correct way to get up from a prone position.
See, Jerry, for the most part, the best way for you to do is just kind of lay on your side. So just roll onto your side. There you go. And then from there, use your hand, and then nice and gently come up into the sitting position. How's that? And then when you go to standing, just bring your feet in front of you. Right? And then roll from the sitting position to your side again. Rock over to your side. And then come to the standing position.
So I come this
way. Yeah, knees and then up to standing.
Okay, here I am laying down on a very small bed, but I think you guys get the picture, because how many of us just jump up out of bed in the morning without even considering how we're doing it and if we can actually injure ourselves right off the bat. So Dion, you're going to explain to us how we get out of the bed each day appropriately.
So the best way to think about this is, again, engaging your core muscles, okay, before you get out of bed. You don't just jump up. Obviously you don't want your heart rate to be elevated too quickly either and get all dizzy and fall over. So the best way to do it is, you're laying on your side already. If you're on your back, you just roll onto your side.
Roll onto the side.
And then push your body up into a sitting position with your legs off the side of the bed.
Okay, so swing.
Swing your legs in front of you.
The legs first. Got
There you
it.
go. Sit up straight. Wait for your heart rate to stabilize out a little bit. Engage your core muscles and then stand up.
And then
stand up out of bed.
Okay. It's easy once you start thinking about it. We're going to start with tabletop. There's not a modified version to this, so I will be doing this solo. So let's take us through the basic technique of an appropriate tabletop position.
Okay, so what you want to do is, again, get your hands in front of you, and then come up off into your knees. That's fine. And make sure your hands and your wrists are in perfect right angle to your shoulders. So you want everything right directly underneath your shoulders.
Okay, so wrists underneath shoulders.
Correct. Make sure your head's in a neutral plane position. Okay, so you have neutral spine. Mm-hmm. And then make sure your knees are directly underneath your hip joints.
Okay.
Okay. So if I had a piece of stick and I had it along your spine here, okay, from your head to your tailbone.
Okay.
Okay, so you would have to, there you go,
okay,
nice.
So
you would have to get that nice and straight, right? So you get that line nice and straight. So that's the first important thing to think about. Second thing to think about is really pulling your belly button into your spine.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so now you're contracting your abs, and this is going to really help build those muscles intrinsically in the lower part of your stomach. And also it'll help really build up the muscles in your lower back region.
So now we're going to be working on plank. We're going to be doing actually two versions of it. We're going to be doing the intermediate or advanced version as well as the modified version. Whenever we go forward with the exercises, start with the modified version first to ensure that you're building up that core stability before you get into a more intermediate or advanced. So let's start with the plank in a modified version.
Okay, that's correct. So get on your elbows and get your elbows directly underneath your shoulders.
Okay.
At right angles.
Got it.
Okay, and then again, think about your head positioning. Okay, so your head's in a neutral plane position with your spine. Okay, so you're thinking again, nice straight spine. First thing you want to do is, again, engage your abs right here. And you can see the knees are bent, so you keep the knees bent for your modified position and just contract your muscles in right there.
Okay, so not going like this all the way forward.
Correct.
That's not the modified.
That's not a plank, yeah.
So I am on my knees, I'm a little bit on the top of my knees.
Correct.
And then the key is to
That's it.
pull
Exactly
it. Oh,
right.
that's up
Pull the
higher than
stomach
I
in.
thought. Okay.
Correct, yes. It's almost feels like a little pike position. Again, if we plumb lined you and we put a line between your head and your tailbone, we want to keep that nice straight spine.
Okay, so this is the modified plank. What is the intermediate plank?
So intermediate to advanced would be onto your toes. So dig your toes in there and then lift your body up. There you go. Again, thinking about spinal and head alignment. Okay, so keeping that nice and straight. And then again, intrinsically thinking about your belly button pulled into your spine.
Got it.
And relax your hands. There you go. That's it.
All right, on to the side plank. Let's start with the modified version of the plank.
Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to come out here onto your elbow and get your elbow at right angles to your body.
Once again, elbow under
your shoulder,
shoulder.
Directly underneath your shoulder.
Got it.
Make sure your head's in a nice position. Bring your legs back, so then again your body's nice and straight. Okay, so bring that. And you tuck your hips under a little bit. Okay, that's it. And then what you want to do is you're going to draw your oblique in, up, and lift your booty up as high as you can.
Oh,
there you go. And you can bring your arm up here too. That really helps keep your spinal alignment and keeps your shoulders back.
So my hip, my right hip is on.
Yeah. So now you're
on
nice
top
and
of
straight.
my left hip. Okay.
Correct. So then you're just driving the hip up, and then what you can do is you can actually drop your hips down, and then squeeze up too, and then you can add a little bit more to it. So you're not just isometrically contracting those obliques. You can actually lift it up
in a more dynamic.
Correct.
Okay. Oh, okay. Wow. Even the modified is tough. How about the more intermediate plank?
Intermediate to advanced. Okay,
yes.
So what you do is you straighten your legs out.
Okay.
Toes in flexion. Okay, bring your toes up.
Okay.
The body's nice and straight. Drive the hips forward again. Make sure that elbow's directly underneath your shoulder again.
Got it.
Get the head in a nice neutral plane position, and then drive the hips up as high as you can. Lift that arm up. Again, bring this arm up to help the shoulders stay back. There you go. And then really think about the obliques squeezing up, keeping those hips nice and even.
Now, some people actually go on their hand. Sometimes I feel it's easier to go with my hand flat. It feels harder actually on my elbow. Why is that?
Because then you're using larger muscle groups. So you're using actual larger muscle groups to hold your body up, versus you're using very small muscle groups like in your shoulders to keep your body up.
Okay.
So that's where it kind of gets taxing, is just the small muscle groups, they'll always burn more before the large muscle groups do. So
you'll get a better workout if you're on your
and then there's less stress on your wrists.
That's true.
So when you go into that high plank position, there's a lot of stress on the wrist. Sometimes you won't even feel it till maybe later on.
Okay.
The more you do it.
So from here, one more time, up like so.
Correct. And then just really drive the hips up. And watch your hip position. And make sure you're breathing. That's another thing that we didn't touch on.
Oh,
make
yeah.
sure you breathe.
What about breathing?
Yeah, a lot of times people hold their breath, and that's a huge
Sure
part
do.
of the exercise. And the main reason why we do Superman exercises is to really stabilize the lower back and spine. And I'm going to have Jerry just show you guys the basics of the Superman. So Jerry, what you're going to do is put your arms straight out in front of you. Your forehead down on the ground because you want a nice neutral spine. A lot of times if you need a little more cushion, you can roll a towel up and put that underneath your forehead. You want to be as relaxed as you possibly can in your upper torso, especially in your upper back region. And then what you do is you lift your right hand up just off the ground and your left leg off the ground. Just off the ground. A lot of times what people try to do is they try to lift up too high. They'll lift their arm up too high, their leg up too high, and that defeats the object of the exercise. And what you might be doing is straining your back. And so it's just a small, elongated exercise, small movement with long extremities. So you really want to get your arms nice and long and your leg nice and long from your middle finger to your big toe. And then switch sides to the other side, Jerry. Lift and lengthen through your torso. So you're lifting up through your lats, you're lengthening your lats out, and that way you're contracting your lower back muscles.
The final exercise we're going to go through are V-ups. That's something that I know really engages the core, and it's not as detrimental, I'll say, sometimes that crunches can be, and we're trying to avoid crunches through this series. So if you can explain a V-up, the appropriate way to do that.
Okay, so what we'll do is have you just sit up straight with your feet in front of you.
Straight out in front?
With your knees bent, sorry.
With my knees bent.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. Pull your toes up, so in the heel position.
Okay.
Okay. Actually, just lift your arms up above your head. So what you're doing here is you're basically trying to reach and stretch. So you're stretching out your diaphragm. Okay, so that's the most important thing. So you're lifting your rib cage up. Okay. Now you can bring your arms down once you get into position. Okay, there you go. So now your abs are engaged, all right, already. Again, you're thinking abdominals engaging before you even start the exercise. Next thing is you very slowly bring your feet off the ground.
From this, not leaning back?
You will lean back a little bit. Just up. There you go. That's it. Okay. So now lift your hands up, if you can, in front of you. That's it. Now, you've just engaged your core a little bit, so lift your core up a little bit. Think through your diaphragm. There you go. That's it. So what we're showing is you're not losing that posture. Your shoulders are still down and back. You're engaging your abdominals, okay? And you're working on balance and stability, core balance and stability. And this is pretty advanced, but you can start with just your feet down just to engage the muscles. And then as you get a little bit better, you start lifting your feet just off the ground to make it a little bit harder for yourself, just so you feel those muscles starting to engage.
Thank you, Dion, so much for putting us through all of these different core exercises and instructing us on how to correctly do each one.
You're welcome. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
At the end of the video, we're going to put together, you're going to see a menu of items that we just went through with some suggestions for how long you can hold each position, so you can start understanding how to engage your core, how to do each technique correctly, as well as get a really good workout just from doing the foundations.